Hello, wonderful children. Today we are talking about, there we go, translating words into math. This is an area that I think we all have a hard time with. This is a lot of word problems and just understanding how to see a word problem and understand what it's asking you. I think sometimes we can see a big chunk of words and we get scared and confused and lonely. I don't know about that, but we get scared and confused, and so we want to be knowing what those words mean. And so this lesson is going to be really, really helpful in helping us understand what those words actually are saying. So if we think about math, we have four basic operations of math. First, we have addition, and then we have subtraction, and then we have multiplication, and then we have division. Okay, so those are our four basic operations of math. And so when we talk about translating words into math, we want to think, all right, what words do we know that mean addition? So some of those words might be add. That's an addition word. If you were to say, I want to add 3 to a number, that means that you have a number and you want to add 3 more things to it. Or you might say plus. Plus is another one. Let's say, for example, I have the math problem that looks like this. So I have this math problem. I'm going to use all the words to make this math problem true. So this would be add 3 to n. I'm starting with n and I'm adding 3 to it. This could also be n plus 3. It could also be the sum of, of the sum of n and 3. So the sum of n and 3. It could also be 3 more than n. So it could be 3 more than n, or a number increased by. So it could say n increased by 3. I'm starting with n, and then I'm increasing by 3, which to give me my final answer. So those are a lot of our addition words. Those are good addition words that we like to use to say, I'm going to be adding 2 values together. All right, so that is addition. Then we move on to subtraction. So what kind of words do you know that deal with subtraction? I'm sure you all put lovely words. Let's say we are dealing with the math problem x and 12 like that. So one way we could say this is x minus 12. And I'm using x because I don't want it to just, if I were to say like 20 minus 12, I don't just want the answer. I want to know how we get this math problem. So this could be x minus 12. This could be the difference of x and 12. I'm going to put a little, maybe underline sum and underline difference. Those are our really good mathy words that help us know that a problem is subtraction. All right, so the difference of x and 12, we could say this is subtract. In this problem, we subtract 12 from x. So this is a backwards one, but starting with x and I'm subtracting 12 from it. So I would say I subtract 12 from x. I could say that this is 12 less than x, meaning that I have x number of things and now I have 12 less things than I had to start with. We could say this is x decreased by 12, where we are decreasing. We could say take away, we could say less, just things to let us know that we're starting with one value and then we're going to be getting into a smaller value. So any of these are a great way to say subtraction. All right, now we move on to multiplication. Make sure, remember, these are your notes today. Your notes today are all the different ways that we can talk about making math problems from words into a math problem. Okay, so make sure you're putting these notes down for each aspect of our operations. All right, next we have multiplication, and let's say we have the math problem 2m, or we could write it like this. Both of those mean the same thing. So what is a way that we could write this multiplication problem? Well, we could say this is 2 times m, right? Times. Absolutely works. We could say this is 2 multiplied by m. 2 multiplied by m. Or we could say this is the product of 2 and m. Product is our real good mathy word we like to use. So product means multiplication. So any of these three would be good ones to say, all right, this means multiplication. This means I'm going to be timesing some values together. All right, and then finally, division. Now think about what are some math words you know that mean division. And I could write this problem as looking like this. Or another way to write division is as a fraction. I could write it just like this. And that means division as well. So we might see this happening more, and that's okay. It just means division. Don't be scared because it's a fraction. A fraction is just division. We'll get into that later. But one way we could say division is we could say this is 6 divided into a. So 6 divided into a. I'm starting with a and I'm dividing 6 into that. So that's one way we could say it. Another way we could say it is we could say this is a divided by 6. Divided by 6. So a divided by 6 would be this one. And our third one, our math word, is quotient, which is probably a word we may have never heard before. Maybe we have, and if so, that's great. Quotient, Q-U-O-T-I-E-N-T. That is our math word. Quotient means divided. If I ask for the quotient of two numbers, that means that I want those two numbers divided. All right, so these are our notes. I'll pause it right here really quick so that you can feel like you can write these down just in case you need to. Remember, you can always pause my video if you ever need to. Rewind it, slow it down, rewatch it, all the good stuff. All right, so let's talk about using these words in our own math problem. So let's say that you open up something and it says that it wants to know what is the product of 20 and t. What is the product of 20 and t? So as we remember, as we look through our notes, product means multiplication. So we know this is going to be a multiplication problem. And the nice thing about multiplication and the nice thing about addition is that order doesn't matter. So once I know that it's multiplication and I know I have two values, I can just plug them right in. 20 times t. And that gets me exactly what I need to have for this problem. So 20 times t gets me everything I need to know to be successful in this problem. All right, let's try another one. What if I have 24 less than x. 24 less than x. All right, so first things first, I know less than means subtract. I know this is going to be a subtraction problem. Now, this means subtraction does matter the order that you do a math problem in. You can't just flip-flop around your subtraction problems. So this one gets kind of tricky because you need to make sure you're knowing your order. Less than means subtract from. This means that I'm starting with x, and I'm going to have 24 things less than x. So x is going to be my first value, and 24 will be my second value. So they're going to flip-flop here, because this 24 less than x means that I already have x things, and now I'm going to have 24 things less than that. Okay? So the division and the subtraction ones can get a little bit confusing knowing which order, because we got to remember that order is important for knowing subtraction and division problems. Okay? All right. What about if I said I have here's a tricky one. 3 times the sum of a and 5. 3 times the sum of a and 5. All right, well, let's look through and see what we have. Times means multiplication. So we know that this is going to be multiplication, but then we also see this word here, sum, which means addition. This is a little bit confusing. Why do we have two different operations here? Well, this math problem is going to end up with two different multiplication problems. And the first half of a multiplication problem is going to say this right here. It's going to say 3 times. So we can write 3 times. And then we know we're going to times 3 by the sum of a and 5. So we're going to put this in parentheses. And to write the sum of a and 5, that's addition. So we're going to say a plus 5. And now we have 3 times. Here's our 3 times the sum of a and 5. There's the sum of a and 5. That one gets a little bit tricky. All right, we will go over this a little bit more in class. We'll be talking about this. We'll be going through this all year long. This is going to be something that we just need to know, these math terms. So make sure you have these in your notebook. It'll help with quizzes. It'll help with tests. All the good things. So be well prepared for our day. See you in class.